I'm just waiting for the bus to show up. Just like,
I get Nina.
Let Nina,
Yeah, because she was gonna stay in touch with Mark. Hey, Amy.
Broken to in the head.
oh, well, you never know.
Yes, you are Amy, yes.
Also, if you are in a toilet situation
I got a broken
where there's,
Will you stay in touch with Jessica?
Why is that
about
still in
timing
my
for the
backpack?
executive session?
Oh, okay.
Because
yeah.
It could have been busier.
executive session. I just told her at executive session.
how much more can we advise them about a lawsuit?
Can we have one for the public record? Can we have one as well so that we can put it in with the public record?
you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks. We're supposed to have
My advice is Rebecca.
Aaron, can you pass these down? This is just for later.
Yeah. Proposal for community standards to be located at Alpine Park. I've already got emails about that one.
Oh, so he's.
Can I borrow the headphones? I figured I could at least ask.
I don't think she's gonna give them up.
I don't blame her. And it really wouldn't be a good look if I,
Oh, you look cute.
If you were in headphones
if I was
while you're running the meeting.
wrestling over
Wrestling.
Yeah, that would work.
Okay, well, I have 6 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and get started. If everyone could please rise and join me for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And Christie, could you take roll call, please?
Sure. Pappenfort,
Here.
Stevens,
Here.
Fontana,
Here.
Critelli,
Present.
Martin. Here. Nacarado. Here. Mayor Shore.
Here.
A quorum is present.
And Councilmember Pappenfort will read the civility invocation this evening.
We are here working together to create a thriving community. It is the intention of the Salida City Council to promote civil communication by adopting the following guidelines for speaking to the public in the City Council chambers. It is our hope by acting in this manner, we can help create a safe space for people to share their perspectives and opinions. We honor the opportunity to be engaged in the process of governance for the benefit of our community. We acknowledge that each of us brings a unique perspective to this conversation and that our perspectives may differ. We challenge ourselves to value varying points of view and hold all contributions as equally important. We understand and accept that while we may sometimes disagree, we can always be courteous and kind. We commit to respectful language, avoiding rumor, harsh criticism, or personal accusation, even when feeling emotionally charged. We will, to the best of our ability, speak thoughtfully and listen with attention, respect, and curiosity. We are confident that there may be even better solutions than any of us have thought of, which may be discovered through civil conversations. We affirm our support for women's rights, including equal pay, equal treatment under the law and in the workplace, and the right to determine choices that impact the direction and personal values of one's life, including all individuals' reproductive health choices. We commit to the City of Salida being a hate-free zone and declare and affirm a policy of non-discrimination on the basis of a person's race, color, religion, ancestry, national origin, age, sexual orientation, gender identity, marital status, military or veteran status, socioeconomic class, medical condition, or physical or mental disability.
Thank you, appreciate that. What are we missing there?
I just need to take my part back.
Aha, you shall. Okay, so with that little technical snafu out of the way, consent agenda, questions, comments on that this evening? Yeah.
Just on the Oak Street reconstruction project, just as far as the overages coming out of, or with the budget amendment, that comes out of this year's budget, or would that be?
Tag team.
I can start it.
Three's a crowd.
I know, sorry.
As far as how the transfers happen, it's probably going to be best for Amy to explain that. I did want to just note some good news. I know there was, in the language for that one, there was a conditional on CDOT concurrence and funding. We did hear back verbally from CDOT that they were going to support that 50-50 split and come up with funds. So it's about $720,000 additional being provided by CDOT. So
Yes.
great to
Great.
give them a nice thank you.
Yeah, thank you, CDOT.
And specifically on the budget, since it is over the approved budget, the amount, we will likely have to amend it later. You know, for the Poncha Boulevard extension, we did borrow $1.2 million from the general fund to finish that project. We are going to start paying back this year. This is probably going to cause a delay in other projects in the budget and possibly including paying back the general fund for the Poncha Interceptor project. But it's hard to turn down all those grant dollars.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, great, thank you.
Thanks. Other questions or comments on the consent agenda?
I just wanted to comment that I was happy to see that Salida, City of Salida and FIBARC commit once again to a near zero waste event this summer. I'm very excited about that.
That's great. I almost feel like we should rename the consent agenda the Elaine Alamang agenda. Thank you,
Mr. Mayor,
Elaine.
I move to combine and approve the items on the consent agenda.
Second.
So we have a motion from Councilmember Pappenfort, seconded by Councilmember Curtelli, and the motion is to combine and approve the items on the consent agenda. Further discussion?
Stevens,
Yes.
Critelli,
Yes.
Nacarado,
Yes.
Fontana,
Yes.
Pappenfort,
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Great. And that takes us to citizen comment. And I just want to make sure everyone understands that this is an opportunity for us sitting up here as a council to hear from the community. And people will be limited to 3 minutes each during these comments. And I will hold people strictly to it out of fairness to everyone. If anyone feels that they didn't have enough time during citizen comment, please feel free to reach out to me after the meeting. I'm more than happy to sit down with you at another time. And it's important also to know the council may not respond to your comment this evening. Rather, they may take your comments and suggestions under advisement, and your questions will be directed to the appropriate department for follow-up. And if necessary, the city administrator will correct the public record. And with that, we have Hannah Michaels first. And by the way, when you get up and speak, you don't have to give your actual address. You can just say, I live in Salida or something like that, just for safety reasons.
Okay, you guys, if I was ever a mess, it's like right now. Just trying to get all the things done and pull this project off somehow still. So my name's Hannah Michaels. I live in Salida. I own the Nest Movement Studio and Events. I spearheaded the community stage project to get you guys to purchase the stage 2 years ago. It was on F Street for 1.5 seasons. I feel like it was really building momentum. There was a number of really successful community events, including a really awesome kids talent show that I hosted with numerous children and different performing arts organizations involved. And it was super awesome. I really want to do it again this year, and now that there is no venue because the stage won't be on F Street. So I am looking to propose that the stage be put at Alpine Park this year for the farmers market season. I have submitted this proposal to Diesel, and he has responded that he is doing what he can to put this proposal into consideration and get to me with information of possible barriers and potential with it. I wanted to come tonight and comment just to hopefully gain support from council and the community and create attention that right now the community stage does not have a location this year, and it was purchased to be used to create more stage space for the performing arts. And yeah, we need to do that. So I don't know where my time is. Okay. Alpine Park has a number of established events already, including the Farmers Market, Shed Fest, Fantasy Fair, and other things. And actually, Fantasy Fair borrowed the portable stage to be put there for each year that it's done so far. So I believe the stage there would actually enhance the already established events and give the performers at the Farmers Market a place to be elevated and actually recognized, because often they're just kind of lost in the scene and people don't even understand that they're like a designated performer for the market. Again, I really want to do the Kids Talent Show, Shed Fest, Fantasy Fairs. Yeah, I have started to gain some support from those businesses that have already been involved, and did add some letters of support to the back of this from the Salida Circus, Arts for Studio, and Elemental 5. I'm prepared to continue to get letters of support. Honestly, all of my time was spent putting this proposal together, which was a lot of time. I want to add that Michael Varnum told me that there would be no resistance from the city, and that he truly believed that it would be no problem to get the stage to be put at Alpine Park this year, and led me to believe that he was doing whatever he could on the city's end to make that process go into fruition. And then he wouldn't return my calls. And then by the time I got a hold of him, he had told me, well, maybe you should hit up Diesel. And I said, oh, well, can we do that together? And he said, so there's that. I'm doing what I can to keep this alive. Please work with me. Thank you.
Anna, thank you. And then next up, Jim Miller.
Mayor Shore, City Council, staff, ladies and gentlemen. I thought I'd give you a little update on the parking committee. And what we have decided is we're going to wait to finish our final report after we get more data on the downtown enforcement of the 2-hour limitations. So we think that's an important aspect of the overall product. So bear with us a few more months. I think we'll have some really useful data generated by then, and it'll come to us in a really digestible form so that it'll be meaningful, and I think that'll help. I also want to comment on a fairly critical letter that you all have in your packet from Mr. Phillips, as usual. It really galls me that someone who never volunteers for anything, has probably never held office, but really feels privileged to be able to criticize every single thing virtually all the time. And it's really starting to be an annoyance. Sometimes he actually has a glimmer of truth in what he says. For instance, the contradictions in the signage downtown between, is it enforced from 9 or 10? You know, that's a legitimate comment, but it's about the only thing in that letter that is legitimate, in my opinion. So I wish that Mr. Phillips would at least be man enough to show up at these meetings and express his opinion directly, instead of lurking on the internet and sending the letters that he sends. It's more useful to actually have a conversation and an exchange of ideas. So that's my comment on that. Otherwise, I think things are going pretty well, and we have been individually, several of us have been as one-on-one, have been having conversations about the future of parking, and I think some good ideas are popping up. So I look forward to finishing this report, and we can move on to the next issue. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. That's all I have for citizen comment, unless we have anyone online.
They're all online.
Okay, then moving on. Next up, we have my favorite thing in the world, and that is, and I totally support, these liquor licensing authorities. But bear with me, and if you see me start to doze off while I'm reading it, we're probably in good company. Okay, this is a public hearing before the Salida City Council, sitting as the Salida Local Liquor Licensing Authority, on an application for a new tavern liquor license submitted by Mary Catherine Blanton on behalf of Coffee by Topo for the premises with a street address of 211 F Street within the city of Salida. Before the hearing begins, I will outline the manner in which the hearing will be conducted and the order in which we will receive testimony, and then I will regurgitate it. That's not in there, but it's going to happen. Okay. Although the authority is acting as a judge of this case, I note for the applicant and members of the public that strict rules of evidence do not apply. Any evidence that is relevant to the matter at hand may be considered by this authority. It is then up to each member of the authority to determine the credibility and weight of all such evidence as it relates to their decision. As chair, I may limit testimony or evidence determined to be irrelevant, repetitive, or cumulative. The order of the hearing will be as follows. Number one, this authority will accept the preliminary investigation reports and findings of our city clerk. Two, the applicant may present an opening statement, if any. Three, the applicant will present its request to the authority. Prior to excusing the applicant's witnesses, cross-examination shall be permitted in the following order: authority members, and then any other party of interest. Number four, the city may present evidence and witnesses, if any. Prior to excusing the city's witnesses, cross-examination shall be permitted in the following order: A, the applicant or its representative; B, authority members; and C, any other party of interest. 5, any party of interest may present evidence and testimony. Before excusing witnesses, cross-examination of interested parties and their witnesses shall be permitted in the following order: A, the applicant or its representative; and B, authority members. 6, the applicant may then present any rebuttal evidence if it wishes to. The city may then also provide rebuttal evidence, if any. And 7, the applicant is then permitted to give a closing statement if they choose. Throughout this process, the authority may ask questions. After all evidence and testimony has been received, I will close the public hearing. The authority will then begin its deliberations on the application. The authority will make a decision by motion and roll call vote. Okay, I'm going to open the public hearing on an application for a new tavern liquor license for Coffee by Topo, LTD, DBA Coffee by Topo at 211 F Street, Salida, Colorado. I invite the city clerk to provide the authority with the city's preliminary investigation reports and findings, and I'm going to gladly turn it over to you.
Thank you. So a new tavern liquor license was submitted by Mary Catherine Blanton on April 9th for Coffee by Topo, LTD DBA Coffee by Topo at 211 F Street. Notice of the public hearing was published in the Mountain Mail on April 12th. It needs to be at least 30 days prior to the hearing. And the premises was posted on May 10th, which needs to be 10 days prior to the hearing, needs to be posted. Background check was done and everything came back great. Staff recommends that the Liquor Licensing Authority approve the new tavern liquor license request for Coffee by Topo at 211 F Street, and I can answer any questions if you have them.
Questions for Christy? Okay, looks pretty straightforward to me. All right, very good. Then I will invite Katie up if you would like to make an opening statement. And if you want, while you're up, so I don't make you go up and down and back and forth, you can also present the request to the authority if you want to just do that all at the same time.
Okay. Yeah, stoked for the opportunity. Thanks for your consideration. Am I supposed to say anything else?
If you want, you don't have to say anything else. If you want to, you could just talk a little bit about what your plan is. And
Like Irish coffee or something like that, or?
We're more
Cinnamon cold brew.
taking requests, definitely.
Yeah, what's on the menu?
Espresso martinis.
Going more for an established menu, less of a bar vibe. So similar to seasonal cocktails that are available, small plates, stuff like that, and then some beers, some like great tried and true beers.
Awesome. Sounds exciting. Thanks.
Of course, original.
It's on the, we're doing a tasting, so you guys are all invited, all lowbrow beers.
Slow,
Yeah.
slow yellow jacket.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
You're welcome to, yeah. Awesome. Okay, the city may present evidence and witnesses of any. Okay, moving right along. If any party of interest may present evidence in testimony, Do we have any parties of interest with a burning desire to present testimony with us this evening? Okay, seeing none, that takes us, the applicant may then present any rebuttal evidence, kind of rebut nothing that was ever said, so I'm guessing that's not necessary. And then would you like to make a closing statement? Okay, very good. All right. So not hearing any more evidence to be brought before the authority on this matter, I now close the public hearing. Liquor Authority, and that means all of you, may begin your deliberations.
I don't know this is really relevant, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Used to, we had nothing but bars on F Street, but now we're having coffee places with some booze, so the coffee promises to be way better.
It doesn't just promise it, it is really, really good.
Not booze, it's top shelf spirits.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Original spirits from Coors.
Yeah, of course, like.
We're saying the booze makes the coffee taste better.
Coffee already tastes really
Coffee already
good.
tastes really good.
I'm saying when the coffee pot sits in the bar for hours, it's not primo anymore.
Right. That never happens at Topo.
I'm sure it doesn't.
Okay, all right.
2 days old.
Lots of banter here. That's good. Anything else?
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve a new tavern liquor license request for Coffee by Topo, LTD DBA Coffee by Topo at 211 F Street.
Second.
So we have a motion from Councilmember Fratelli, seconded by Councilmember Nacarado, and the motion is to approve a new tavern liquor license request for Coffee by Topo, LTD DBA Coffee by Topo at 211 F Street. Further discussion?
Fontana,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Nacarado,
Yes.
Stevens,
Yes.
Papenfort,
Yes.
Critelli.
Yes.
Motion passes.
And I'm sure all of us sitting up here are going to be really shocked this evening that we're already to council reports and it's 6:20. No, it's happened before, but it's been a long time.
It's rare.
It's rare. It's almost as rare as an Elvis sighting, but.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, council reports. So we'll go ahead with Councilmember Critelli.
Okay, well, I guess I had some time to think about our discussion last night about First and D and art space, and I'm still sticking with, I think, the main point I was trying to make is more space is more flexible than less. And when I mention something like the average size of a black box theater being double what is being presented as the Space to Create in the Space to Create project, it's not that I'm asking for a stage to be the permanent use with a fixed stage and fixed lighting and all that. What I'm saying is it offers more flexibility to the flex art space. I'm not asking for or looking to champion a huge stage space. Yeah, we do have one at the steam plant. We have 3 theater companies. We have 2 burlesque troupes and a third one that's gonna try to come in and do some sort of cabaret style type thing. We have a very burgeoning, flowering, performing arts community in Salida, and that's great. And I think the main thing, if you ask them, any dancer, any singer, any musician, we need just more space to do that, stage space, not a huge amphitheater, not a huge auditorium. We just need more stage, because if you kind of break it down, and we have Theater Festival that's going to be happening this September, the last week of September and first week of October. You have Fantastic, which basically has a residency at the steam plant. And then you have Tints with non-traditional theaters and non-traditional spaces, which you would use Box of Bubbles, which if you've attended a show there, it gets cramped pretty quickly, very quickly. Then you basically, we have a church. And if you do something like Rocky Horror Picture Show and upset the fuzz of a church and you don't get to do a show like that there, you don't have anywhere else to go. Then we start talking about stage space that there's ample of in BV. So we're kind of losing this fight when we lose the Vic or we lose Stoke. We lose these options for stage space. That's just space to present. It's like having not enough gallery space for artists. If you can't show your work, you can't sell your work. And if you can't sell your work, you can't make a living or even make a penny off of the arts. So I hear a lot of the discussion going towards, well, BV has this stage here and that stage there. And it's just like, when did acts start considering BV over us? That's where we want to be. We want to be in that place where they're like, we're going to do our show here. We don't want to lose that. So when I say, is the juice worth the squeeze as far as asking for that bigger space at the cost of less parking, I think it's because it's an argument that I could have and a debate that I could win with my constituents when I say there is parking on street frontage on D Street that would apply to that project. So you're not really losing anything. And we hold ourselves to this higher standard of parking on a lot that never had parking since 1905, not a single parking spot on that lot. It was an empty, barren lot in between those two buildings. So I think if we're gonna sacrifice, we're not actually sacrificing any real parking, just where it is, whether it's on site or on street frontage, which is what you're gonna get anyways in a downtown space. I think that it is worth having that discussion to see how big of a space that we can get. I'm not too worried about residents living up top of it. It's kind of like people getting a space near an airport and then complaining about airplane noise. You know what the use is going to be. And if we're worried about residents and mixing with that flex space, then what are we talking about happening there? Hopefully no glass blowing studio or welders or sculptures or anything that's too loud if we're going to walk on eggshells around that element. So I'm not really buying any of the pushback that I was receiving. I think that Space to Create should have more space to create. And artists do as well. And if it's not me speaking for them, they will show up and they will speak for themselves. And we'll have a robust conversation about it, I'm sure. And when we're talking about stage space, yes, F Street stage. If Alpine makes sense, if we do have live music and performances, which we do at the Farmers Market and at Fantasy Fair and at Shed Fest, then having a stage makes sense. And I'm just supportive of, again, that more space to show your creativity in this creative district. That's all I have.
And I would say I would support you with the Alpine Park. And one thing I'd be curious to know more about is sort of the status of the Sundry and what its potential impact might be on the arts and stage space, because that could be a piece of the puzzle that could be helpful.
And all I can think of when it comes to the Sundry is the last movie I saw there was like through a veil of like a waterfall coming in from the roof. Yeah. So I'm sure they have a lot of work to do.
So you were able to multitask. You got to see a
Well,
movie and take a shower at the same
it was
time.
the first Black Panther movie, so it was kind of cool. It was like Wakanda, water coming down. It was like 3D.
Okay.
It's very cool.
Excellent. Thank you. Councilmember Fontana.
Okay, so I went to the Armed Forces Day celebration in Poncha Springs this weekend. It was a great event. There were a lot of veterans there. They gave a great speech about one that passed away. George Blake, 103. He was essential to the community. I know there was a lot of talk on him this weekend, and it was great. Thank you to all the people that put on that event and supported the veterans. So I also noticed a lot of, I was driving around town, didn't get out and walk a lot, but noticed there was a lot of foot and car traffic in town this weekend. So that's exciting. I know F Street was very busy, you know, the highway was very busy. I know tourists are coming, so that's a good thing because I can see them coming. There's also the opening of Julie's Cubby, and I met a lady in the store today who said she has a new, relatively new business of all local artists in town, a little gallery. She was encouraging a lot of people to come to those things, and she features local artists. So that's exciting. And she said, please invite council. I cannot remember the name of her business though, so I know it's on F Street, a little gallery there. So the other thing, I did have people, and I know Jim Miller commented and said they were gonna wait to bring forth some information. I had a lot of people come in and comment and ask me questions about the interstate parking, and I don't have the answers yet. All I know is that it started. So I hope we get some updates, which would be great, from the interstate parking and the committee that has been put together with Dan and Jim and probably Christy also. So I did have several people asking on those, which will be great for an update whenever we can get it.
Do you want me to give you the foundation for right now? And then
Sure.
we can, if, is that okay?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. So, thank you. Just want to clarify, we have fixed the 10 to 6 versus 9 to 5 on the website. That was an oversight. It was easily fixed, and it is now. So 9 to 5 on the signs, they've been up for years. That's the compliance. So just as a reminder, these parking zones have been on the books for a number of years. The city simply hired a third-party contractor to do compliance for us. And while that compliance is being done by a third party, Interstate Parking, they are also gathering data on downtown usage, how many parking spots are being used, when are the busy times of the day. They are not doing compliance in any parking lots because we don't have any time restrictions on any of the parking lots, but they are going through and again gathering the data. You know, how busy is it at the UP parking lot, you know, at noon on a Friday versus, 4 on a Friday. And so that will help us understand how the parking is being used downtown. Because they do things electronically, they can also get information on where maybe our tourists are coming from, allow us to engage a little bit more, or help our businesses engage in different ways with the folks that are coming down there. So that is the foundation, I guess. If there's a customer service manager, his name's Josh. He has been going around to all the businesses downtown, providing them with a QR code that takes anyone who uses it to the parksalida.com website, where they're able to identify where the parking zones are, where all the free parking is downtown. Some of it is literally a half a block away from a timed parking spot. They have been ensuring that business owners are able to tell their employees where those parking areas are. Let's see, the first time they contact you, they'll put a warning on the car, just as a reminder that you have stayed longer than 2 hours. Then the parking tickets, I believe it starts at $25. None of the payment is coming through the city of Salida. It's all, you make your payment online on the parkingsalida.com website. There's no revenue coming to Salida. There's nothing that Salida it will be responsible for in that process. You don't come to City Hall to pay your ticket. So does that help? Were there specific questions that came up that I can help?
No, just the 2-hour parking, is it being forced? Where are the free lots? Those were some of them. And how long the contract is for?
May
which
15th to September 15th.
I answered the one.
There you go. Nice. There it is.
And one just last thing to add on is that you see, Josh is the name of the, he lives here in the community.
Yep,
Oh, that's
he
great.
does. He does.
Well, that's great.
So yep. So I know it's a change for people, and I do think that the data that we get from the summer will really help inform the parking task force and whatever the council decides to do moving forward, but there's no obligation on our side to do anything else after September 15th.
Quick question about that. The 2-hour parking zones are, were put, when you say on the books, it's an ordinance.
Yes.
Parking ordinance, correct? So if we do, and I don't want to do this now, but let's say after September 15th, we get some data and it shows that we want to change that timeframe, will just be another ordinance to change it?
Yes, yes. And we believe that that is the best time to do it, once we have some data. Yes.
That makes sense.
Yes, we can absolutely do that, whatever the council would like to direct staff to do.
Thanks.
If there's nothing more on that, did you have other items?
I just have one thing. I'm looking forward to department updates. I know that's a lot of work to compile all that update, so I appreciate that before you even start.
Thanks.
And that's all.
Okay, Councilmember Martin.
Nothing for me this evening.
Okay. Councilmember Nacarado.
Let's see, I also appreciated the department updates and especially the information from our community development department and the work that's coming their way. I'm also really excited about the Oak Street construction project starting. Please don't tell my 20-year-old self how excited I am about infrastructure. Or actually, maybe do tell her, maybe I would have gone the engineering route. But excited to see that move forward and kind of bring that area of town up to the aesthetic of the rest of the town. I wanted to mention and thank all the volunteers who showed up for Cleanup Green Up last Saturday on Colorado Public Lands Day. There's not a full tally of the amount of trash collected, but there were over 100 volunteers who showed up, and I think over 1,000 pounds that were removed just from the Arkansas hills. That was posted by Salida Mountain Trails. And AHRA and Garna were also, and probably the city too, were also all part of that. So great showing. I wanted to let people know that cheatgrass is going to seed. That is an invasive weed that grows all over town. It's the only grass that has seeds on its, seeds on like drooping seed heads right now. I won't try to describe what it looks like, but it is the only grass that looks like that right now. And it's a really, really bad invasive weed. It outcompetes all of our native plants, which is bad for pollinators and wildlife. And then it can become a really big fire hazard once it dries.
What is it?
Cheatgrass, like it cheats. C-H-E-A-T, cheatgrass.
Got it.
So you can quickly Google it. It pulls really easily. You will have to bag it if you pull it, because if you lay it on the ground, you are just planting more cheatgrass. And it is going to drop its seeds really soon. I see a lot of yards full of it throughout town, and what we don't want is for that to spread up into the nearby hills, and where we create a huge fire danger if we have a cheatgrass colonization out there. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you, appreciate it. Councilmember Pappenfort.
Seen that around.
Well, this month is Elder Month and it's Mental Health Month. So, celebrate however you will. That's all I have.
Thank you. Councilmember Stevens?
Yeah, I just wanted to touch on also on the D Street project. Some of the comments that I said yesterday was, I do like the idea of it, becoming just a space for people can go in and out and be used for multiple spaces, but also, as Justin was saying, I think we do need, a bigger venue. I don't know if anybody remembers, the unique theater that we lost, 10 years ago or so, so that was a very, very big loss, I think, to the Salida, especially being a historic downtown district, one of the largest in Colorado, but, and there's no getting that back. So, having a space like that, somehow bringing something like that back to our town would be, a very big deal, would keep the theater here where it needs to be, not trying to, find other places to go like BV or anything like that. But yeah, I just don't know, D Street, if that's, if that's in the plans, that if we get that in the plan, that's great. But I'm just not sure if that's, really, a thing that can happen. I'm sure it can, if we were to, start completely over and work our way back through it. But that's not something that, I feel like, we can, really start over at this point. But having a theater and place for the arts in town is a, it's a big thing. My wife is an artist, and kind of know how it goes. We work out of the house, and then we find places to show her art here and all over Colorado. So, we're always looking for new ways to, support the artist here in town. And then on another note, I just wanted to mention the ARC Aces, the women's paddling team that's going to Bosnia. I think they're getting ready to leave here in a couple days. So if you see those ladies out there, congratulate them and give them good luck. And yeah, that's pretty amazing. Amazing trip. I can't wait to hear about it and talk to them when they get back and see how it went.
Championships of rafting.
World Championships of rafting. That's right.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So they're out there, and they've been out there in the stormy weather and the snow and rain, paddling and getting in shape, and that's amazing. So that's all I got.
Thanks. I have a couple of things tonight. First off, I want to extend my congratulations to Bree Tucker, our SRO. For those of you who don't know, she was nominated by a staff member at the high school for a best SRO in a 5-state region, and she won. And I think that's remarkable because the relationship between the school and the city vis-a-vis the SRO program hasn't always gone this smoothly. And the fact, number one, she's nominated by a staff member, and number two, number one in a 5-state region, it speaks so much to the professionalism of our police department. They have a finite number of people, and to find the perfect fit, I'm really, really grateful for. So just kudos to Bree for that. Really an amazing honor. The second thing I wanted to mention, to piggyback on what Councilmember Fontana said, was regarding George Blake. He died at 103 years old. He served at Pearl Harbor. And I just want to share a story that really warms my heart about George. I was approached by some neighbors. He lived on Crestone Drive out on the Mesa. And if you go out there, he lived in a little townhome complex, and you had the road, and then there's that walking path, but there was sort of a culvert. And so it kind of went down and up, and he had a walker. He was 100 years old at the time, and he couldn't navigate it. And so people brought it to my attention, which really speaks to how caring so many members of our community are. And I went to David Lady and said, hey, could we build a walkway? And it was a bit of a deviation from what the city typically does, where we do it, at intersections, et cetera. But he did it. David and his department did it anyway. And I ran into George. I was out with my dog. He had his dog and his walker, and he practically danced a jig. He was so excited about having access to get over there. And it's stuff like that that makes Salida Salida. And rest in peace, George. You were such an amazing part of this community, and you will always be remembered and loved by Salida. So thank you. And that's all that I have tonight. I believe our treasurer is online. Ben, are you, okay, yep, I will turn it over to you, Ben.
Yeah, I'm here, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you.
With regards to the sales tax collections, the March sales tax collections increased by about $5,000 or 0.6% as compared to March of 2023. Our portion of the Chaffey County sales tax collections decreased by about $19,000, or about a 6.7 decrease over March of 2023. In total, our sales tax receipts were about 1.3% lower for March and 3.5% higher year to date. So our actual collections are actually 1.6% behind budget year to date. So we're doing okay with where our sales tax collections, but things continue to slow a little bit. It's good news on our budget, on our actual versus budget for the general fund. Things are looking positive there. So that's the end of my report. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I heard from our esteemed attorney, they have nothing tonight, so I'm not even going to put him on the spot. How about, I know there were department updates in the package, but is there anything else?
I do have a couple things, please. I just wanted to respond to a couple of things from the council report. We will talk to Space to Create, ensure that they are looking at additional space and how we can utilize what is not apartments, what's not being used as apartments for additional venues. So we hear you, and we'll pass that along to Art Space as well. Also heard that you were interested in finding a way to utilize the community stage in Alpine Park. So I will work with staff to figure out what the best place and how to use that. Also wanted to let you know that through the discussions of F Street, we heard from council really wanting to ensure that there was accessibility for our community members who may need additional accessibility. So we have created 2 new ADA spots. One is on 291 westbound, just on the west side of F Street. So, like right before Moody Blues, the tattoo place, Centennial, right there in that corner. And so that's catty corner from the one at Cravonic, so people can access it either way they're going. We also, when I say we, David and his team, also created a new one eastbound on Sackett, right in front of the Vic. So again, catty corner from the one that was westbound on the other side of F and Sackett. So 2 additional spots. I think that brings us up to 10. So wanted to let you know about that. I did want to check in with regards to last night's work session and make sure that I understand if there is any direction from the council regarding the electric preferred resolution, if anyone was interested in us bringing that back or to you for comment. So I wanted to, I didn't hear it last night, but so I just want to make sure that we capture that if so.
I would support that. Others?
I would like to see it.
Yes.
Resolution we're looking for, right?
Yeah.
Thank you so very much. We will.
And I think that
yes.
it would be very good time-wise if that could happen at the next council meeting, from what I
Yes,
understand.
June 3rd. Mhm. We will,
We have it on the agenda.
we have it on, we put it in pencil on the agenda last night, but I just wanted to make sure.
Now you can put it in pen.
What's that? Now we'll put it in pen. Now it's in pen.
It's upgraded.
The last is with the places to age. Their request to council, I don't know if you need more time to think about it. I anticipate having, getting a phone call from that group, seeing kind of what the direction is. And I wanted to see if you all had direction for staff, or if you needed to think about it more, which is totally fine, or if there's other information that staff can bring forward to you to help you with that. I just wanted.
That's it right there.
Okay,
Yeah.
so what, we can do that.
There's some things
So,
on like redefinition of
okay,
things.
so there were 3 requests from them.
Grant
And
seems like a no-brainer. You know, the helping with the grants, helping them access DOLA. That was one of them.
Yeah, or
Well-
like, and they
But it'd
weren't
be
asking us to
tricky
write them
time-wise.
so much as they were saying, just make us aware, so.
so I think that, yes.
That one
Yes.
seemed pretty straightforward.
It can be. I don't know that DOLA is the option, having worked there for 16 years, given the ownership. Those are funds that are for local governments who own and operate facilities, not for LLCs or nonprofits, generally speaking. So we can do that. Is the council interested in putting together an MOU with Places to Age, or do you want, staff can bring back to council for your consideration our capacity for putting together even options for grants for Places to Age of things that we know about. They did request fee waivers, so we could bring forward to you what fees are required of these types of development so that you can have something to work with there. And then the last was some limited technical assistance, being able to ask questions of staff, share sample RFPs. I mean, I think that we do that to,
Already.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, there was also the whole wanting, commercial rates and designated as affordable and.
Right, for the
definitions.
inclusionary housing.
Yeah, that is something I think we need to discuss.
yeah,
What
that
that
could be put
means.
with it, because that would be involved the fees and.
Right.
And, the other thing I would say is, regarding the MOU, I think we need to, you're talking about, it was really impressive. There must have been I don't know if it's 80 or 100 people in here last night. And I love working with grassroots organizations, because so often we sit up here and it's like sometimes we make decisions in a vacuum, and that can be challenging. But when you have a group this well organized, this passionate, this committed to something, and we're only growing older as a community, I think we do need to pursue that.
Yeah.
But if other people feel differently, now's the time to,
Yeah, I want it coming from staff though, because then you can give us the repercussions and the possibilities. Just like you set us straight on the DOLA. Like, no, we can't really do that.
all that's really helpful.
Yeah.
Would that be a work session? Then you'll bring this back to it, you'll kind of figure out what the options are in a work session?
That probably would be the easiest. The next work session would probably be July 1st,
It's okay.
given what you have on
Coming up.
your calendar so far.
Okay.
Okay, July 1st is okay?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much for helping me
Thank you.
with clarity.
Hey, one thing I forgot to mention, I apologize. So we have farmer's market coming up. And in the last couple of years, we have all taken turns as this body, participating, attending, it's like usually from 9 to 12 and taking turns. I want to get a sense from people, are people committed to doing that? Because it is time. A lot of people like to be out on the river or the trail or travel. And if we don't have the bandwidth to do it, it would be better to know now than sign up and then be really struggling during the summer. So.
So I think I had talked to you one time about it. Before we talk about signing up, was it worth the investment as far as the people of Salida and other places coming and talking to you? Because I wasn't there last year.
Yeah.
Aaron and I
Yeah.
I was at the farmer's market here and there and I saw it all.
Yeah.
But I wasn't in the booth.
So we did have some good conversations, absolutely. And I think the important part of it, if we end up doing it, is it allows for a public presence. And there's a lot of people that can't make these meetings because they're working, but maybe if they have something to ask, they can come and speak to us. So it's just creating more availability, transparency at a venue other than in here, where it's a little more formal, it can be perceived as a little more intimidating. But there are some times where, I walked away thinking I didn't have that many meaningful conversations. That can't happen. And it's just like, that's a good question. Anyone, do you want to?
Yeah, just like Mr. Miller said in his comments, let's open up people to get out from behind their laptops and have conversation and exchange of ideas in the real world. Because there was a lot of times that I was able to point to the farmer's market while being, in the midst of like a heated social media thread of just being like, hey, if you want to really talk, we'll be at the park. It's very, there's, donuts from the Mennonites and, You know, you can actually.
Really good donuts.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's like 9 times out of 10, people in the real world are a lot less heated. They won't say half the things that they'll type, and it becomes more of like, hey, you know, there's like, let's meet on the human level. So I felt like that was valuable.
Good, okay.
And also the donuts are pretty solid.
Those are
And we're
great.
there early enough.
I mean, they're chewy and soft, and
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
call them solid, but
Yeah,
they're
yeah, right,
melt in your
right.
mouth.
If
Yeah,
you get there early, you're gonna get one.
yeah, exactly.
They're not gonna sell out.
That's the idea, yeah, exactly.
I never found it too burdensome
Okay.
previously, and I'd be happy to do it again. I always like to be there with staff. When staff answers the public's questions, I always seem to also learn something new too. So it's great to be part of those conversations.
And, you know, even for some reason, if, you know, staff can't be there, I've always found, like, if I don't have an answer to something, the opportunity to get the information and follow up with someone carries a lot of weight. Because so many people think, oh, government, they don't care, they make decisions in a vacuum. And when they have someone who responds to them, it changes their perception, and I really enjoy when that happens. So,
But it really does require like full participation.
Yeah, I mean-
Had in the years past, like some council members never
Some
show up,
sketches, yeah.
never show up at all.
So-
So it's like really,
so we're not trying to put anyone on the spot, but
I have work, so I won't be there.
Oh, yeah, I can come, for sure.
Like,
Yeah,
I
and-
would want to, I want to be there, but that pays
we
my
could just
bills.
send them over to
Swedish.
your place of,
I'm
your
sure
place
her
of
boss would love
work.
that. Okay, I'm gonna be the one with the pushback. You know, I think that there's too many Saturdays that there's nothing happening and that it's really dead, and I think we need to cut it back. I don't think the public really appreciates it. I think that a few people do, once in a blue moon, and that we need to have our presence there according to that schedule. So I would suggest that we do it once a month, or at the most, every other Saturday. Every Saturday is too heavy of a lift.
What if we did it every other and
Okay.
tried that? Because we were
Sure.
going from, and see how that works out. And that would take some of the burden off of folks.
Give us a little more freedom for weekend stuff.
Sure. It's-
up?
No. Typically, it's nice
of
to have
us.
2 people.
Okay.
Nice to
Give
have
us
2.
with a staff member if we can.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will send out, I think, let me know if this worked well for you in the past. We sent out a doodle poll with all of the dates of each of the farmers markets, so we'll do every other farmers market. And then you can just sign up for which one you can attend, and then we can see if we're missing any Saturdays. And we'll have the department heads look at that as well. Does that work with everybody to
Yeah.
do a doodle poll?
Yeah. And just know that, I mean, stuff does come up and you might put yes, and then we just communicate that.
Was it just like, just a tent and a table? And
Yeah, a tent and a table and,
sit?
Parks and Rec will set it up. It's usually a primo spot, like, under
not
a
setting up a tent.
tree. No, we
We
have it
got the
set up.
cover,
And we always have goodies for y'all to give away and
stickers.
stickers and
So we're
QR
easy.
codes that you can direct everyone
stuff.
to if they have
And-
questions or want to sign up for something. So we'll make sure that you're set up properly and that you have all the instructions that you need.
and you do run into a lot of people, even if they don't come up and ask questions, they just come and say hello and say thanks. Or whatever. I mean, it's a nice touch.
Good.
So, okay,
Yeah, I already make it to quite a bit of the farmers markets already, so.
okay.
It's- yeah.
Sounds like we have a path forward. Awesome. Okay, well, so we're good on the update. So we do have an executive session, so we will need to
Will we?
clear the gallery.
Clear the room.
It's not official yet.
What's that? But we
We gotta make it
first-
official.
But first. Yeah, all you're gonna do is,
Read this paragraph.
yeah, and then we'll do a vote.
Okay. I move to go into executive session. Meeting description, for the purpose of conferencing with the city attorney, for the purpose of receiving legal advice on specific legal questions under CRS Section 24-6402-4B, and for the purpose of determining positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiation, developing strategy for negotiations, and/or instructing negotiators under CRS Section 24-6402-4E, and the following additional details are provided for identification purposes. Legal advice regarding lawsuit brought by the town of Poncha Springs, Tailwind Group LLC, and Full Views Matter LLC against the city of Salida and related negotiations, information, discussions, and next steps.
Second.
Second.
So we have a motion from Councilmember Pappenfort, seconded Councilmember Critelli, and the motion is to go into executive session for the purpose of conferencing with the city attorney for the purpose of receiving legal advice on specific legal questions under CRS Section 24-64024B, and for the purpose of determining positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiation, developing strategy for negotiations, and/or instructing negotiators under CRS Section 24-64024E. And the following additional details are provided for identification purposes. Legal advice regarding lawsuit brought by the town of Poncha Springs, Tailwind Group LLC, and Full Views Matter LLC against the city of Salida, and related negotiations, information, discussions, and next step. Further discussion?
Nacarado,
Yes.
Pappenfort,
Yes.
Stevens,
Yes.
Fontana,
Yes.
Critelli,
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Wonderful. So the time is now 6:58.
This is the fastest meeting ever.